My name is Christian Mugarura Mapijiri. I'm not a software developer, but I'm a bit close, an animator. And I'm also in mental health as a person who struggled for a long time with it. And we ended up creating an organization to sort of self-support ourselves. Yeah, and that organization is called ADAAM. And the reason it's called ADAAM, as you all know in the Bible, it's also a faith-based organization, but as you know in the Bible, it's Adam is the man. And I know for the biggest part, this is a struggle. Statistically, it's mainly faced by men. Someone mentioned that we should change the name of Butabika. So as we already changed it, we call it B2K. So when I refer to B2K, that's, I mean Butabika. So that's what we refer Butabika as, because many people have been there, and we don't like to stigmatize them. There are many people who have been there and are now very productive at it. So we don't want to stigmatize. And first of all, I want to appreciate software developers, because for the biggest part, most of the software we use like this is created by you guys, much as most animators are about to be out of a job, most illustrators. But I would like to appreciate your skill set on a broader perspective. And well, my presentation was more about raising awareness about mental health issues, especially in our society today, leave alone the tech industry. Because as you've seen, there's been a rampant surge of mental health cases, especially in our hospitals. We have one hospital, one mental referral hospital, which is B2K, and we realized as an organization that we could at least try to reduce the budgets of the government by also putting an effort. Because all these 99s going around picking up people, all the cases you keep hearing, I don't know how many watch the news, for people killing each other, cutting children, all that is as a result of down in the mental. And to look at mental health, to try and normalize this conversation. Because most people tend to keep this as what? It's like hidden, especially for men. You know, we try to brush it off. Like those are bazungu things. Yeah? You know, those are not. Who struggles with that? You know, like for me personally, as in my field of animation, as you know, we tend to spend. You can spend days without sleeping to try and finish a project. I've spent maximum 3 days minus sleep because of a deadline. And the supervisor is always on your WhatsApp for some reason, then go away. And I wonder, where does this chick sleep? You know, she's always online. And I try to text thinking she won't reply, so I just try and sleep, but she's always there. And you'll find that even when the deadline is met, after those 3 days of not sleeping, they'll be like, oh, we shall review it later and get back to you. And you're like, you know, you could have just told me to take your time, sleep. But you made me, you know, spend all this time, endless nights without sleeping. Anyway, that's another. Yeah, but I don't know if any of you have experienced similar circumstances. But this happens to people in our field as well, you know. And you find that at the end of the day, even the money that you get at times is not. You feel it's not worth, you know, the job. Or for some of us who have been married, you find that it affects the marriage as you can see, the ring is no longer there. It affected the marriage. It led to, complete burnout, depression, everything. But you think in your mind that you're trying to be the best at your what? At your field. So what are you really willing to sacrifice to be the best of the best of the bestest? So for me, I reached a point where I was like, I'm the hardest worker in the room. No one can beat me at working. I'm the most talented. No one can beat me at what? I'm the fastest learner. I can learn any software you throw at me. I used to think I'm this, but it had a cost attached to it. Now this cost is what? Depression, anxiety, outbursts. I'm talking from my own personal experience. So this is a breakdown where they take you to a hospital. Substance abuse. We have not really highlighted about that, but I used to smoke weed like what? I don't know how I can explain it, but smoking weed, drinking pills, sex with funny partners you don't have it planned. You have a wife at home, but you go out on these impulsive things because of the build up. But outside there, they hear this guy is an award-winning what? Animator. He's working for the UN, Al Jazeera. He's out there. Like my work was like, out there. Like you're earning. No one can tell you anything because they want money. So they're not going to tell you what to do. So it all led to all this, the crazy, the burnout. We all talk about depression, but there is what they call masked depression. Like people tend to come, they're the funny ones in the office. Most people want to create this facade of everything is what? Is okay. But again, we need to normalize these conversations. There is nothing wrong with talking to your supervisor and saying, you know what, I'm not okay with what? With this. Please, can we extend this deadline? Please, can you give me more time on this? I learned that the hard way, unfortunately, but it does help. I used to be in an apartment. You have your room, that's an office, with dark curtains. I don't know why I preferred the dark curtains, but it would keep me there. Like I wouldn't know whether it's day or night, or I wouldn't really care, but like that's how I would work. And that's how I preferred it. The family was this side. I come out, greet the kids, hello, this and that. And then you run back. As soon as you remember there's this thing, now I've figured it out. Let me run back. Or I've watched this YouTube video. Now I've figured it out. So that thing sort of isolated me from my family. What? You're in the house, but you're not in the house. Yet you're at home, you're working from home, but you're not there. Eh? You're seated in a sitting room, but you're watching YouTube videos about the problem that you have failed to what? Solve. You're in the bed with your wife, but you're still on YouTube. Am I lying, you guys? So this is how I used to live my life. Day in what? Day out. Then she stayed alone for 2 days. But I'm in the same what? Same house. Yes, you can earn. I used to pile up money. You find there's 30 million and account 15. Like money wasn't an issue. But at what cost is this what? Thing. So it comes back. Sorry, I'm picking from my own lived experience. So bear with me. What are the symptoms? What causes are specific to this? To this particular industry, especially, ours are a bit similar. So if you look at, for me, procrastination, like they could throw me this project, and I know it is big and there's a deadline, and I just shut down. And people wonder what's wrong with you. They remind you, but you're the hardest, you're the best. But like, how do you get back into that what? They don't know that like your brain has just frozen. You're so worried about what could turn out, how they are going to criticize this project, how they are going to look at your work in detail. You worry about what happened at the last what project, all the payment delays, all those things. Like what I want to emphasize on is not the symptoms, but how to deal with it. Because for me personally, I had to realize that, you know what, this is a life and death what? Situation. So I have to make time during the week, family. This is also a family disease because it affects even your family what? Members. Remember, depression is a real disease. Although it's not intrusive like malaria, it's not a bacterial infection, but it is a disease. And it has been classified as a what? As a disease by the World Health Organization. So this thing affects your entire what? Family and all the people around you. So I had to intentionally make time for family. Make sure I spend time with the kids. Make sure I call my dad or my brothers and sisters, spend time with them. Make sure I have time for myself. On like every Friday, for me it's a Friday thing. Every Friday, it's my day. Like daddy's day out. If you go out and have a blast, buy yourself a nice meal, do the nails thing, you go out, do something. I try to do different things. Like I try to play some sport I was never interested in. I will try to travel, much as not. I don't like spending that much money on traveling, but travel. I will look out for new friends, people in different fields, completely different fields. I'll try to do things that are out of the what? Of my ordinary context. Yeah. And again, anxiety. The anxiety, I want to focus on the anxiety that we face in the professional what? Which is normally, oh, tomorrow there's a what? There's a deadline. The anxiety of, oh, I'm not performing well enough. Someone mentioned, even when we were doing the affirmations here, that it didn't resonate with them. And I also like sort of felt that because I used to tell myself, it's like before every project, you're like, one, you're the hardest, you're the one who won that, you're the one who won this. This is just another what? But then you get into the project and it's what? But what I realized that if I deliberately set out a process of creating or of working, which is something I learned from people who work at the highest level, there's people like in Disney, that kind of world, they deliberately have a process, how they do things, and they will map it out and they'll write it somewhere. So every time they are going to start, they will follow the exact same what? Process. That seems to remove that what? And for them at their level, no one can tell them, oh, you missed it, what? No, they will be like, no, I have to complete this what? The managers need to, at least the best managers or supervisors I've worked with, truly understand the processes that I want, that I go through. So I appreciate a good supervisor or a good client, on the other hand. There are those who really understand. So I avoid those who do not understand the processes because it's really stressful from my end. Yeah, I don't know if this is making sense. Yeah. But deliberately marking out those processes really helps. Then common mental health challenges. For me, okay, I've seen it among my peers, which is, of course, the substances. I don't know about you guys. I'm sure no one is going to openly tell me today, but like I'm sure there's someone out there who is yeah. Sorry to laugh, but I've also been there, and I know how I heavily leaned on it. And you see, the substances, for an addict or when you're just starting to use, and normally people look at it as a problem, but for it's a solution. Yeah, and there are people who have told me they have smoked, not even smoked, sniffed cocaine to stay awake, to beat the deadline. You can't keep up with him. Probably that guy you're admiring is on coke, and you don't know. I would like to encourage you to pick something from what he said, the counseling. I also used not to appreciate counselors till I was taken to be 2K. But so it's when I had to appreciate that, you know what, these people have also studied. They have also had experiences. So let me just listen, much as I'm coming from this high level. Yeah. Yeah, but also caffeine for me was another thing. Although I was a multiple substance abuser, caffeine, I don't know if you remember Monster Energy. Monster, I would put Monster, Power Horse, everything. Yeah, just to make sure that, you know, I had that rule, like, I'll never miss a deadline. Never. It will never get me. So, and for a long time, it never got me. But eventually, the side effect of, I think, the perfectionism, you know, that comes with our profession. So, okay, our similar professions. The impact on productivity, of course, you know for sure. Like, for me, it went into, like I stopped working completely. There was no productivity. So it was like people are looking for you, but you're not there. Where is Mr. Al Jazeera? He's not around. Where is, what's he doing now? He's there. We hear he flew out, but he might be around. Who may I be 2K because of a burnout? Now, your self-esteem used to be this guy who was respected by your peers or whatever. Now you are what? So please, let's look at it in a balanced way. We all want to be what? Great performers in the workplace. But we also have what? Our own lives. So you have to consider your life first before you consider someone else's work. Don't forget that our industry, okay, like my industry, how do you call it? It's changing so fast. Changes so fast. Every time I look, there's now AI that can create this and that. Now even getting gigs is getting harder because, now AI can do that. Your editor will call you and say, hey, you know what? We got some new AI. Can you just prompt it? We don't need you to draw. Just go there and prompt the thing. Give us what we need. And then you're like, prompt it to do it. Give it like your style. Teach it. So it's now more about learning how to prompt than it is even learning how to what? Yeah, like, how do you call it? Like, the industry is changing so fast. So you don't know 5 years from now what is going to be what? So what are we dying for? The question. Who are we dying for exactly? So you have to look at all those things and balance it out. And you have to realize that even those people I've worked with people at the UN at the global level, and you call a person at a specific time and their phones will be off until like at 5 p.m. they're offline. 7 a.m. they're back online. Deliberately. Whoever is catching fire, they will catch fire. Whatever deadline you have, they will be back. They'll be like, oh, sorry, okay, let's do this. Deliberately, daily. These are people at the highest what? Level. Us who came through the country offices, struggling. Country, then Africa, then Middle East and Africa, then up to... You find these guys there, they are deliberately, on their time, you don't play around. on their family time. So let's move on to another thing. The role of a work environment, creating supportive workspace, importance of a positive and inclusive work culture, encouraging open discussions about mental health, providing access to mental health resources and support. Okay, I can say I had to learn to delegate. I had someone here mentioning something about delegating. I can't remember who, but the importance of having that ability to be positive in your peers. Like for me, who is a perfectionist, I had to get someone who is below me or younger than me and say, okay, here is this work. I hope you don't lose the client, but here it is. And they even performed better than what I expected. Then I realized these young guys are actually even smarter than some of us. And they just weren't given an opportunity. So that gave me like some breathing space. Like I don't have to spend sleepless, like they are up at 2 a.m. Yet you can just call someone and spoil their night, you know? You know? Okay, sorry to put it that way, but literally, I have a lot more sleep than before because of that. I can tell you that. I can assure you. And I have a lot less anxiety. The only anxiety I have is texting them and hoping they'll text back in time and say, oh, no, it's okay. I've emailed the thing. Let's forward it. Yeah, I'm done with it. So, yeah, and you know, for me, because of the name, I am known. So I'll just use my email. So people won't even realize it's not me working. I hope I haven't spoiled anyone's But like, it's like you have got what we call in school bachuba. To do the what? To do the job. Your name is already established somewhere. So you might as well now start what? Yeah, delegating. Because the name won't diminish. After all, you're the one who can even iron out the mistakes. So in my workspace, you'll find a PlayStation. You'll find the people are happy. Like I want people to enjoy work. 5, 3, 4 p.m. you can go home. Hard deadlines, they're not really, you know. I will talk to the other people on the other side and say, you know what? No. Even for the NGO world, mind you, I've also been in the NGO world. It's on a different On a different level. It's also stressful on another level. But you will find that even for them, you have to create that boundary. You have to set your boundaries and say, no. We shall deliver this on this day. People want to come and do an audit and, you know, just storm at once. They're like, no, give us time to do ABCD. Again, mapping out processes, mapping out work plans, that helps a lot. Encouraging open, for us, it's normal to talk about B2K. People come into the office. Because anyway, it's a mental health organization. So you'll find addicts there. You'll find people struggling with bipolarism. You'll find people struggling with anxiety, with all sorts of personality disorders. But we are open and welcome to them. And we talk normally about it. Because at the end of the day, again, normally it affects the greater family. And the more we learn to normalize these conversations, the more people will come out. Even those who have been masking will start coming out. Because they will not feel stigmatized. If I told you I was in B2K, I'm sure I'm not the only one in this room. Other people might be there, but they are Yeah. I might not be the only. We call them we call ourselves Maje. But the rest are civilians. But it's normal because you'll find someone there is a doctor, engineer. I've also met software engineers there. I've seen all sorts of people. And for some reason, these things tend to attack some of our brightest minds. Yeah, it's just unfortunate. But knowing also where to get access for this sort of support, you having people like Dr. Lisa available, people like me. I have another whole team behind me. It's not just me. There are counselors, there are psychologists, there are also clinical psychologists and psychiatrists. So all those people are behind there. Self-care techniques, for me, my personal favorites, although it might not show, is exercise. Yeah, but I prefer I prefer to think of exercise not for physical health, but for mental health. Because without the mental, you can't have the what? Physical. For me, that is my time to switch off from the rest of the what? Of the world. When I'm on that car spin bike, or when I'm on the walk, or when I'm on the treadmill, or when you are lifting weights, feeling that pain, or when you're in a boxing session, you completely what? Switch off for that time. You're not looking at your screens, your laptop or phones or whatever, tablets. Yeah? For that time, yeah, what? You are alone. And then, of course, the mindfulness and meditation practices. I think another practice on top of this, the previous speaker had already shared, but another practice on top of this is switching off your what? Your gadgets at a specific time of the day. You say from 9 to maybe 6:30, you're going to be what? Off. I can tell you that changes your sleep. And because we've been, now you're on TikTok looking for protesters, yeah, there. Who is protesting? Instead of what? Instead of sleeping. who has lifted today? Up to 2 a.m. You're there like this. So if you don't, your sleep, what they call it, the circadian rhythm, will change. And your eating patterns will also change. Your behavior will change. If you just notice, I can tell someone from the workplace who has not been sleeping, normally they are irritable. Very irritable. Normally they're in low moods. So you tell the person, now, you know what? Take off what? A day. And don't go and watch Netflix in the bed. Just take off the day and sleep. Don't finish that series. So it's about switching off the what? Especially for you guys who are always on screens. Then again, work-life balance, setting boundaries between work and personal life. Like I told you, even the people at the highest level will ghost you at a certain what? Time. You will try to call them, they're not picking up. So I don't know, for some of us, what we are fighting for. Effective time management, creating schedules, creating work plans. Like for me, I can be working on maybe, I have the NGO work, I have 2 NGOs. There's one in Uganda, one in Somalia, then there's the artwork. So I have to sit down every week and say, you know what are you going to do that is going to be most effective in all these what? Fields? What time are you going to sketch? And now also for people who are creative, sometimes the creative juices come at the wrong what? At the wrong time. So you have to calculate. I try to watch other bigger artists, what they do and how they manage their time. I try to research that. And I found that some of them, they have a small window of creativity, maybe 3-4 hours that they maximize on a daily. Then the rest of it is used for monkey work. What I call monkey work is like typing and what. So you will find that you calculate that time, either just like 6 to like 8. That's when you find the creative what? Juices are flowing. That's when you maximize. That's when I'll start pulling out the sketch pad. I start what? Sketching. I'll start, coloring. Then after that, I'll stop deliberately. Because I know if I don't do that, tomorrow I will not have that gas. I don't know how I can explain, but that urge to what? To continue. So managing the time, seeking help. Now me, I'm surrounded by counselors there in the office. So I can tap on them anytime. And I don't fear what? Calling. I'll call, I'll ask. The biggest thing is asking what? Questions that you don't understand. Because for most of us, especially men, we tend to be reserved about what? These things. And I want to point out another issue. I know there are ladies in this room, but as men, we have a bigger responsibility, can I say? Society-wise, a lot is placed on us. And this is in terms of provision. Now, that tends to be overwhelming. At times, you find that there are very high expectations of us. Now, you have to remember just to leave a little room for disappointment. So if you can't achieve a certain goal, be easy on yourself. If you can't, just leave a little room. So that you don't be too hard on what? On yourself. Because those expectations will always what? Be there. So try to do something, as someone mentioned also before, progress over what? Perfection. Like, just leave a little room for disappointment. Not to be pessimistic, but just so that you don't be too hard on yourself. Because statistically, majority of the people in B2K are men. Majority of the guys in Luzira are what? Men. I hardly see a mad woman on the streets. I don't know why, but it's like the majority of the guys I meet are men. Is it not to be? But this is because of the way society has what? Structured our roles. And at the end of the day, the expectations are extremely high, especially on our side. So it's better for you to really keep a keen eye on that. Then reaching out to peers, mentors, and professionals, especially in the field. I'm sure people of career guidance have really emphasized all this, getting a mentor, getting someone who is what? At a higher level. For me, I had to look out I was introduced to people at a what? At a much higher level. I was fortunate enough, and I met people in, it was Walt Disney. Now these people, again, the conversations we're having were on processes. How do you handle this workload? You have a movie to deliver. How do you handle this? You have this to deliver. How do you handle this? Now you find that the person has systematically ironed out a process. And you follow it to the T. And it has worked every time. So if you find something is working for you, please keep it. But keep in touch with your peers, professionals, and also reach out also to other mental health professionals as well. Not just Chris or Doctor there are people who are just there. You go, you visit B2K also. You as software developers, you say, let's see what is happening here. You meet people there, and you never know. They can share some insights. Creating peer support groups. We have a WhatsApp channel that I don't know how I'll share it, but I will share it with you guys, where every day, every morning, afternoon, evening, we share what? Supportive messages for people. We also share any awareness information that we have. We conduct, I don't know if you're familiar with NA, Narcotics Anonymous. You don't know Narcotics Anonymous? You have never heard of it? Alcoholics Anonymous? You have heard of Alcoholics Anonymous? Okay, I'm sure you have heard of cells, Christian cells. It's almost the same thing, but it's mainly for people with addictions. And they also other apps that are online. I don't know if you've heard of Sober Buddy. Sober Buddy, for it focuses more, it's a secular kind of app. It's not a Christian-based or faith-based app or support group. It's based on CBT. CBT is cognitive behavior therapy. So most of these support groups base their information on CBT, which is what? Cognitive behavior therapy. So that can help you deal with different mental health ailments. Encouraging mentorship, collaboration. I've already said that. Recognizing and celebrating your achievements. I think this is also very important. For most of us, we tend not to recognize when we have achieved. You brush it off. Like, this is nothing. Some of you guys just sitting in this room is a huge achievement. Call yourself a software engineer, developer. That's a huge Some people don't even know what that is. But you're here, you're seated in in this room with your peers. You have to recognize those things. For me, as an animator or an illustrator or comic book artist, I tend to brush off those There's a time we won an award in New York. A colleague called me, and then she's like, "Can I send you the placard?" And then I was like, "Send it to me for what? Is there some more work coming? Because me, I need a dime. That if you send it to me, I'll put it at the Uganda Museum for maybe some kids." But you see that brushing off, again, this is what led to a burnout. So you'll find that you have achieved something big, but you've just rubbished it. You think anyone can do it, but it's not. So that small reminder, even for some of us who have gone through addiction, you find that those small reminders that you have gone through today, you have managed today without touching that thing, or you have just managed today without those suicidal thoughts. You have just managed today without that depression weighing on you. It's a huge achievement. Yeah. So move on to the next. This is for the managers. I don't know how many managers are here, but yeah. For those who are in leadership roles in software development, please, you need to promote mental health initiatives like this. I thank people here who organize this. This is really good. And leading by example. Those managers who stay on the phone up to 4 a.m., please, you need to give people a break. Also, prioritize your own self-care. Providing training on mental health awareness for managers. I know for a leader, there's always that weight of delivery and responsibility. But still, there are things that can be negotiated between organizations or companies. The time can be bought or things can be earned out. There's always some room for something. I think for the rest, we'll have to interact afterwards because I think there's time. But like I'm going to answer that question quickly. If you had the cow, I don't know how many of you keep cattle, but if you had a cow and you woke it up at 4 a.m. every day, and to milk you, every single day, it's awake the whole night, milking it. How much milk do you think you would get? So if we look at the human beings as a resource, let's say it's a battery, it will eventually run out. It will go dry. It will shut down. So for me, that's how I look at it from a managerial perspective. If I had the cattle and I played for them music, allowed them to sleep in nice beds, and they had the best food and everything, and they had their playtime, I would come and probably produce a lot more milk the next day than the other stressed out what? Cattle. I think it comes down to what we're even trying to do here. I don't think there's anyone in this room who doesn't have a family member who has been what? I don't think we have, it's like how COVID started. Everyone here has someone. That's why we're probably gathered here. It's a serious what? Issue. Now, it starts with the conversations. Remember, it's a family what? Disease. We are trying to encourage people to, instead of chasing the person to B2K, because people say, hey, no, this one is for what? The home care. Realizing it's a disease. If I came to you and I said, today I have cancer, and I'm at home, everything at home will be shifted towards cancer. The people will change their diet. They will stop making noise. They will watch programs that are friendly on TV. I don't know if any of you have had cancer patients at home, but it changes the what? The home. Now, the same way that we are doing that for other diseases, even if it's HIV, people change the home for that. They change the environment. They change the way they talk to the person, the way they treat the person. That's how we should be now looking at mental health what? Patients. If the person has signs of depression, you should now quickly change the environment to what? To match that. You try to be supportive, not judgy. You try to encourage the person to seek the what? The help from a professional. Because remember, you're dealing with something that is not only emotional, but also biological in nature. So you have to what? Form that as a family, be able to talk about these things normally. One of the biggest challenges I've seen, even for other mental illnesses, let's say, for example, bipolarism. Bipolar disorder is very common, and people tend to use substances to cover it up. Now, some people even commit suicide because they have bipolarism, but they don't know what they're struggling with, because they have not been given that chance to what? To come out. Now, you'll find that bipolar disorder, the biggest challenge is the family. Because it is stigmatized that if they hear that this person's family has a mental what? Issue, in the village, they will be known, or in the community. So these people fail to adhere to simple medications which are there that can stabilize that chemical imbalance because of the what? Of that stigma. So if these things are normal, if you know, okay, someone has bipolar, it's just another what? Disease. It can be treated. Let's adjust the home. Let's welcome this person. If someone had a disability at home, people would what? Change the home accordingly. But for addiction, chase him to the village. Addiction is also a disease. Chase him to the village, chase him to Budavika. I went to a funeral recently, there was even no body. The body was already where? In the village, because they had chased the person to die. They didn't know how to deal with that thing. And remember, dealing with that with a mental health person without a professional is like dealing with your car without a mechanic. If you have a car and it gets spoiled, how many of you can fix your own what? Your own vehicles? Normally you run to call the what? Mechanic. The same principle. So let me just try to what? I hope that has helped. So mental health apps, since you guys are the guys, I hope you create many more apps for mental health. I was hearing there's a hackathon, so I hope that hackathon, an app is going to be what? Created. But for me, this is what I personally use. I have a lot of what? Apps and support groups I attend online that help me to what? On a daily basis. In a week, I'll attend maybe 2-3 meetings online, maybe one physical what? meeting, but as a group. And the company resources, because there are some companies, I don't know about the companies you work for, there are some companies that really understand mental health issues and are welcoming. They offer treatment services. They offer to pay for the treatment. So that's one way of also encouraging people to what? Come out. If you are offering them counseling, like, if somebody has a problem, please. If someone says, I'm struggling with addiction, instead of firing them, say, you know what? There is this channel. You can get what? Rehabilitated. If you are willing to take the program, what? Seriously. Workshops and seminars like this on mental health. Of course, there are many more resources reading about mental health. And yeah, I think that is it. Yeah.